Welcome to Grownish Women. I'm your host, Hollie Geitner. This is the podcast for women who are in the messy middle of midlife. Your kids are growing up, your hormones are doing whatever they want, and that quiet little voice is asking, okay, well, what do I want to be when I grow up? And it's getting louder by the day. We talk about the stuff everybody is going through, but nobody wants to talk about. We laugh at the chaos, we sit in the hard parts, and we do it all without judgment because midlife does not come with a manual, but it does come with this podcast. Let's go. Hey, friends. Welcome back to Grownish Women. Today's guest is one that feels really personal for me. Years ago, when I owned a digital marketing agency called Interactive Swim, a woman named Hollie Geitner contracted me to work for Visit Pittsburgh. Fast forward some years later, when I started consulting again, and she brought me back to freelance for an agency she was working for. So watching her step out and build something entirely her own, this is like a full circle moment for me. Hollie has spent nearly 30 years as a communications strategist. She led communications for utilities through crises, shaped messaging for regional economic development, built award-winning teams, and counseled executives across healthcare, energy, manufacturing, and the nonprofit sector. She has seen what works, and more importantly, she has learned what doesn't. But at 50, after 20 years of climbing the corporate ladder, she made the leap. She walked away from the title and started her own firm, Anchored Voice Consulting. Not because it was easy or convenient timing, but because the exhaustion of staying finally outweighed the risk of leaving. Today, we're going to talk about the pivot. What it feels like to lose the corporate shield of a title after 2 decades. Why she says her reputation and her network outlasted every title she has ever held. And how trusting the timing of your own life, even when it makes no sense on paper, might be the most important thing you do for yourself in midlife. If you've ever wondered whether it is too late to bet on yourself, stick around. This one is for you. Here's my conversation with Hollie. Thank you, Hollie, for joining us today, talking about the midlife career pivot. I know for you, you've spent 25 years reaching the top of the communications field in Pittsburgh. What
Yeah.
was that moment that made you finally take that risk of staying in corporate America felt greater than the risk of leaving it?
Boy, well, thank you for having me today.
Yes.
I would say exhaustion.
Yeah.
The exhaustion that comes with constantly needing to play a game, an internal politics game,
Sure.
your value not being realized when like I bring decades of experience, and then my health. So, like the mental, physical exhaustion, and then everything that does to your body.
Yes.
And it really does come down to I've got 2 teenagers. I know yours is no longer a teen, right? But this is a critical time in their lives. And to be so absent during that time
Yeah.
didn't seem worth it to me for anything.
I agree with you. And you're right. I mean, I've been in the same boat where I've, worn the corporate hat for a long time, went up the corporate ladder, and for the same reasons kind of walked away because of my health and
Right.
because I wanted to spend time with my daughter and feel like I was present
Right.
in her life versus always worried about work.
Always. And it never goes away. And there's even greater expectations. I mean, we started working before we could be,
Oh my gosh. Yes.
contacted off hours,
Yes. Before the cell phone. Absolutely.
before the BlackBerry.
That's so funny. For over 2 decades, you've been defined by your title and organization, and I've felt this too.
Mhm.
Now coming out on the other side, like how do you introduce yourself without that corporate shield? So much of our identity is based on it.
Well, you're right. And I would say it's very common, not unique to Pittsburgh, but for some reason I think it is so prevalent here in Pittsburgh.
Yes.
And I've really grappled with that. It's hard, um, because that perceived value doesn't matter, who you are, but if you have a title, the ability to buy something,
It's
You
true.
have power over something. But what I've really discovered, over the course of the past several months is that, and I heard this consistently, that my reputation outlasted my title and my network outlasted my title. And that gave me comfort. I would say, the hard part about that is
Mm.
number one, people show up for you, no matter what. And whether you can help them professionally or not, the people who are truly in your network show up. The others go silent, and it is deafening. So I've just really come to recognize that this is a time for me to really, have the clarity that I need to know like what's most important in my life. And my reputation and my network has nothing to do with my titles. That feels good.
I mean, do you think that is shaping the kind of culture and how you're working with anchored voice on how you want it to be?
Well, look, I think all of us, our experiences in our lives, the good, the bad, the ugly, generally inspire what's ahead for us. And so there's a lot of what has culminated with Anchored Voice that is really just, packaging up all of these things that I have learned over the years and then coupling that with the world we're living in today. And I would say, I'm going to use that COVID term now more than ever.
Oh, yes. Now more than ever.
It's like purpose and impact, anchored to something important is what matters, not the things that we know are going to change in a year, in 3 years. Like the companies that I have seen over time come out real strong on something have now gone completely silent on another. And I'm actually
Mm.
referring to DEI.
Okay.
And so you see that today, what was so important to get out, and, stories in the news about their commitment is now quiet below the radar, if it's even on the radar at all. But that pendulum's going to swing back. And who are they? Their stakeholders are going to be asking, not just companies, but individuals.
Hmm.
What do you stand for? What are you anchored to? I feel like we're just lacking courage. And so I see it as we all could be doing a better job of communicating with clarity, with purpose, with authenticity, because that is what matters. Not what the,
100%.
issue of the day is, but like, what do
Yes.
you stand for?
Yes. You know, you said the word courage, and I think what you've done has courage written all over it. I
Ugh,
mean, you left the corporate world, even though you've invested a ton of time, which many of us have. How did you get the voice out of your head saying, just write it out. Just write it out till retirement or just write it out to the next thing. How did you
yeah.
quiet that? That's courage.
It's funny. And I will say something that a woman here in Pittsburgh said to me years ago. She said to a group of us in her cohort, but it's in the back of my mind all the time. And it's trust the timing of your life.
Mm.
And so and she also says the other thing, and this is Christy Effelman, it is listen to your gut. She calls it belly. I'm going to call it gut, but listen to your gut versus your head or your heart. And when you do that, it's telling you everything you need to know. And so that voice was much louder than the can't you just stick it out.
Yeah,
So I think there was just something in my soul that told me this is what you're meant to do. It's not what you thought you were going to be doing. It's not
100%.
even what I aspired to do,
Right.
but it is where I am. And so, when all of those things come together and that gut voice is so loud, it just gives you a little bit of that confidence. All right, well, my life experience so far has led me to here,
Yeah.
and if I trust the timing, things have not always worked out in the timing I thought they should. They rarely ever, but they generally work out. So I'm giving it a shot.
And so how has it been? So it's
You
been
know,
since the end of the year, right? Last
yeah.
year?
Well, the end of a year is not an ideal time, right, to launch a business. A lot of companies have budgets set. However, it did give me the space and time and less noise to be able to focus on not just I'm going to go into consulting and launch a business, but to really think about what is it I want to do? How do I want to do it? Why am I doing this? Is it just because I need money or is it something greater? And what I have found through going through this process is that we're all put here on this earth, right? And so no matter what job we have, we should all be able to connect it in some way to how we're making the world a better place.
So
Every
true.
single one of us. And it doesn't matter what job you have, it should all be in service to making the world better for future generations. And if it isn't, then we really need to be thinking about, are we doing the right thing? And I
It's
really
true.
sat with that.
Yeah. I mean, because when I think about it, and again, I've been in your shoes before, you're like, my integrity and making a difference is worth more than the salary and benefits.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's tough. It was a tough for me. Like, I know that's not a conversation that people like to have, but I think there comes a point in our lives where we're like, wait, I'm willing to take the risk for this, right?
For sure. And I would say one of the things I'm grateful for, I mean, there's a lot that I'm grateful for,
Yeah.
but I've already been through some pretty significant life things. I've been divorced, yeah. But I bought this house that we live in where we're raising our two children when I was 26.
Oh.
So never really have lived beyond our means. And so, sure, I did splurge on a designer bag after getting a bonus one year. But aside from that, we're okay. We both
Yeah.
work hard. We've both been, putting towards funds since we were in our 20s. But the scary part is I don't have that as active right now, right? I don't have something
Sure.
like pouring into it, but I'll get there. And really the limit is whatever I decide to put on my limit.
Yes.
So I can do better than I was doing. And that when you realize that, it's like I'm not within a salary band anymore.
Yes.
Remember those?
Yes. Yes, I do remember those. What level are you? Well, this is it. This is as far as you're going to go. You're
And
like,
did you get meets
okay.
expectations,
Oh my
exceeds
gosh.
expectations? Didn't
Yes.
matter how much, you worked and sacrificed.
Yeah.
It's up to me now.
It's so up to you. Oh my gosh.
It's free.
Wow. What do you think? I mean, for that woman who's listening, maybe they stumbled upon this podcast. Maybe they're like 30 years old and really, you and I are in our 50s. Like, what should they focus on? What is that? Like, what is the superpower, I guess, that we have that maybe they just don't have, but we need to tell them to start to cultivate?
That's a great one. I mean, the superpower that you and I both have that is unique to each of us is our perspective and our experience.
Yes.
There's absolutely nobody who has the exact same experience and perspective that we do. So I believe the younger generation now, the women that are coming up behind us, I try to do what I didn't necessarily have. And I'll tell you, like, it's not because anyone was purposefully not. I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know what I needed. And mentoring wasn't really a thing people talked about, at least that I remember.
Same. Yeah, you're right.
Right. So I think it's really, looking at the people you admire, men, women, it doesn't matter, just the people you admire and having conversations with them and really being a sponge, soaking up what you can, because as you gain your own experience, you're going to be building off of things that they have told you, and it's just going to make you so much more wiser. I mean, there are certain things you have to go through in life.
Right.
We could talk about an experience, but until you've lived it. But you have to know that I always said this to my team members, life happens while we're at work. And you have to understand that we're all whole beings. Things are happening. So whether it's things in the workplace, things at home, things in the community, that all is shaping who we are. And to take advantage of as much as you can, but also something people never talk to us about is boundaries. And
Oh,
I mean, I didn't know what they
boundaries.
were.
Yeah,
Maybe we had some natural ones just because social media didn't exist,
true.
you know? I don't know.
Yeah, I think I would tell my 30 something or even 20 something definitely about boundaries and pushing back. Even though I
Mhm.
was a pusher, I definitely pushed back in corporate America. But yeah, I think that the BS, I realized just how much BS there was involved in corporate America. And now I realize I wasn't going to go up the corporate ladder because I didn't.
Fit a mold.
Yes, I didn't fit a mold. And I think if I had known that back then, I don't know, I would have accepted who I was.
Yep.
Yeah, and not try to be something I wasn't.
Yep.
But now I think about the kids, I call them kids, the 20 something, 30 something. And now it's less about experience and more about how can you, especially with what we do, like leverage AI.
Yeah.
Experience is going away, and I feel like the value of experience is going away, and it's more important that, you can leverage these tools to almost hack your way to like the much as much as experience as we have.
It's like a yes and, right?
Right.
The tools, yes, but it is about the knowledge that goes into the prompts and getting to your pushback, like pushing back on the
Yep.
model. And that does require some experience and perspective. And I think a lot of that can be gained by building personal relationships and by reading a lot so that we're not just relying on a tool to spit out something that is really just a recompilation of something else that was
True.
already done. It's like Play Doh. You can
True.
manipulate it and make it into yours, but you can use that to help. But the other thing we also, I'm not sure I took advantage of Google back in the day. Everything was figure outable. And how
Yeah.
many times I felt stuck or like, I don't know how to build a crisis plan. And a lot of those things weren't necessarily out there at the time, but now if someone is given a task or there's a challenge, the world is really at your fingertips.
100%. Yeah, for
Like
sure.
there's no excuse, right?
There's no excuse. There is no excuse. My gosh. Yeah, for sure. I'm also thinking, Holly, how do you figure out who your real tribe is versus your professional tribe? Especially when you leave or things happen and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I thought you were my bestie.
Yeah. Well, number one is listening to the silence.
Yeah.
Like I said, that was something interesting. But I'm self-aware enough to know that there are things that I might be making up in my own head that isn't really true,
Oof.
right? That folks truly are busy. That being said, I also have discernment that I didn't used
Yes.
to have. I'm not necessarily looking for a wider tribe, I'm looking for a deeper tribe. I
Yes.
loathe the small talk. I hate it. And so the people that I like to spend time with, we'll have real conversations. We
Yeah.
will, share the raw and the ugly. We celebrate the wins. We say when we're scared or worried or when we're just completely low energy and feel terrible. I mean, look, we're in menopause right now. Like all of us, it's either we're in it or my friends have passed it and
Yes.
understand. So we're
Yes.
all in it,
Oh my gosh,
right?
that is so truth. Yeah. I love that idea though. Your friends, they get deeper versus wider.
For sure. I
Hmm.
think we go, well, I mean, I'm not an extrovert, but I'm also not an introvert. I'm in the
Same.
middle. But life isn't about collecting, Facebook friends, Instagram follows. I think, if anything, at this point in our lives, we've realized that it's so much richer than that. And the friends where you just completely forget to take pictures, like that's it. Because like there's nothing performative about the relationship.
Yes.
And I think we're in such a performative culture now.
I think that's like that right now for LinkedIn.
Oh, well, you're right.
Let's make sure we
Uh,
be honest about that because I
yeah.
think it's all for the LinkedIn. Like if you check out
Yeah.
LinkedIn, there's a lot of times people are just tooting their own horn and you're exhausted of it. So I think it's just part of our culture.
It is. And I think, well, it's algorithms. I mean, it's really what it is. Yes, people, but it's these algorithms that people today have been taught to chase.
Yeah.
And to what end are we doing that? That we continually chase an algorithm, like that's exhausting. And I admit, like, as I'm trying to build my own business and get customers, I'm like, well, I have to be, present. But anyone who's been following me on LinkedIn for years knows I've always been out there. I've written the articles that are
Right.
years old. I've been
100%.
vulnerable. Like, so what I'm doing isn't necessarily new. I might adjust here or there, but I decided there is no way I'm paying for a course of someone to teach me how to, X my followers. No, I'm
Say,
not going to do it.
yeah. Yeah.
Because again, to what end are we doing all of that? I don't know. Like, we only have so much time left.
Well, and I think it
Why
goes
spend
back
it doing
though,
that?
Holly, to your why you started your own business. I not to go on a tangent here, but I took a client on last year, um, and they were touting that they were close to 1 million followers on Instagram. That was their goal. And then I started to like uncover things. A lot of them were paid, um, and their strategy was more leveraging their competitors' content and then immediately crafting it for them. And
Oh,
I lasted, I think, a week.
oh.
And I was just like, this isn't for me. I'm used to strategy. This isn't strategy. This is just like stealing. It felt icky. It really felt icky.
Well, can I just tell you that exact scenario is playing out every day in the corporate world,
Right.
just different, right? It's not the
Right.
same platform, it's not the same metric, but it's
Right.
the exact same situation. It's no strategy, it's output, it's vanity metrics, it's, burnout. We've been trained to, conform to a system. And once you see the system, like as you saw the system and you
Yeah.
can't unsee that.
No, no. Maybe my
Now,
30-year-old, maybe my 30 something, especially being I was a single mom, I probably would have just swallowed it and
yeah,
taken it. But now I'm like, oh my gosh, there is just no way.
is that building any level of trust with followers or coworkers or stakeholders, like it's more and more and more, and that there's nothing there, right?
Oh my god, so true. I was thinking something, Holly, because again, you had mentioned I've been an entrepreneur, and I've also worked for companies, and I have been on my own set of launches where I'm like, oh my gosh, I've launched. It's so exciting. Like, how was your launch last year? Like, how
Oh,
did that feel?
it was in stages, right? Getting
Yeah.
the LLC, and it's like, "Oh my gosh, wow." And then it's, the email address, and then
Yes.
it's the website. It's been really interesting because, when you are in corporate and you are leading, a launch of an effort or a campaign or an
Sure.
announcement, you have the cover of that organization to protect you somewhat,
Mm,
right?
true.
When it's your own, the risks are higher. There is so much more riding on that. And the big one for me was, I mean, it's probably just been a few weeks that I launched my website. And getting back to the people in your tribe, a dear friend, of course, and many of these friends, I have friends from a long time ago, but I also have newer friends from, more recent years. And I love that too. And she quietly texted me the morning after my website went out. And she said, "Hey, everything looks great. I just wanted you to know there's a typo on your homepage. I spelled visibility wrong." And old Holly would
Yeah.
have been mortified
Right.
and just like, oh my gosh, I would have beat myself up,
The drama.
the
Yes.
shame. And I was
Yes.
like, how awesome that she let me know. Like, I love this. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I thought also, nothing bad happened.
Nothing. There is not a marketing emergency for that spelling to be off.
No.
No.
So, yeah, it's like the stakes are higher, but I
Yeah.
also can take things in stride way better.
That's awesome.
I mean, think about all those events we did, and it would be like, oh, stressed out to the
Oh
max.
my gosh. And then the after effect of like reporting those events
Yes.
and, being on trial, so to speak,
Right.
for those events. Oh, yeah. There was no, for lack of better words, joy in a lot of the things that we did and launched at all.
No,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Now there is.
I
Now
do
there
love,
is.
I still love what I do though,
Yes.
but it's just on my terms
Yes.
and it's on your terms.
Yes.
And that's the difference.
Love that. All right. Let's do some rapid fire.
Okay.
All right. What's one piece of your corporate armor? So, like a suit, a bag, mindset, you've officially retired. You're like, I'm not bringing it with me.
Now, okay, I know this is quick, but I would say for me, uncomfortable clothes. Like,
Okay. Yes.
I mean, I have no time for that. But also, I am not going to go into any scenario where I have to play a game.
Done.
Unless I'm deciding to play Monopoly, I'm not playing games.
Okay. I love that. Done with games. All the
Mhm.
games. Yes. Okay. What's the power song that got you through this transition?
It's maybe not one you'd be thinking of,
Okay.
is Journey, Be Good to Yourself. And I'm telling you, put it on after this. And it's like, be good to yourself when no one else will.
Yes.
And it is such a great song. And I have listened to that on repeat many times.
Okay, I'm going to do that.
Yeah.
I actually am going to have an episode about self-compassion with my old therapist because
Oh, perfect.
yeah, I feel like as women, obviously women in our age group, we're never really taught about self-compassion and it's just, the body keeps score and we're at that age where we really need to kind of let go of things. So, I will be listening to that song.
There you go.
And more to come about that. Okay, what is one word to describe the Holly today versus the Holly 5 years ago?
I think maybe there's an arrogance that we don't even know we have when we're younger.
Yeah,
And now I'm just curious, like,
love it.
say more, let me dig deeper,
Yep,
you
love.
know.
Okay. And then the closing question is,
Okay.
okay, for the woman listening in the car or at her desk, and she's just clocking in for a paycheck, and we've all been there,
We've all done it. Yeah.
because she's scared to pivot, what would you tell her?
Well, I guess it's the thing that I have learned. Listen to your gut. Listen to that voice that is your gut should be louder than the other things. Really listen to it. But that means you have to like sit still. You have to really, take the time, but it's going to tell you what you're supposed to be doing. And it's going to tell you you're going to be okay. And you will.
I love it. Thank you, Holly.
Thank you.
Yay!
I love the conversation.
Same. Okay, that is a wrap on today's episode of Grownish Women. And honestly, I could have kept going. If something you heard today made you laugh, made you cry, or maybe made you text your best friend and say you have to listen to this, that's exactly why I created it. Do me a favor. If you're loving the show, please subscribe wherever you listen to your podcasts and leave a review. It takes like 2 minutes and it really means the world to me. It also helps other women in the messy middle find us. And trust me, they need the community just as much as we do. Come find me on Instagram, Grownish Women Podcast, and keep the conversation going because what we talk about here doesn't need to stop when the episode ends. Until then, be a little kinder to yourself. You're doing better than you think.